Hello, this is Todd Schultz, EDL 951, Module 13, Tort Liability Cases. Tort liability is defined as a civil wrong for which a remedy may be obtained, usually in the form of damages. There is a more detailed legal description listed there. As it pertains to schools, these torts can be intentional or negligent. Often what we see in schools is the negligent case where there's a failure to exercise a standard of care that is reasonably expected from a prudent person in a similar situation. And because of the likelihood that we have in contact with students, this is the more likely scenario. I did define 5 tort cases here. The first one, Johnson versus School District of Millard, where a student was injured in a music class and fell into a bookshelf. The court did find the district at fault and argued in favor of the plaintiff. I think that the parents and staff would react with concern for the child's injury. This is something that would probably be an accident on the teacher's behalf, and it can happen all too often for just turning your back for a brief second. But I think something that they could do as a district is outline the appropriate games that should be played in any kind of physical activity within the school and the type of supervision that should go along with that. Reminding staff that not all students may want to participate in games might be a way to also deflect some of these things from happening. The second case I looked at was Mosley versus Public School of Portland, and that there was a negligence offered because she was scarred from a fight with another student who produced a box knife and cut her very badly, and that security personnel were not around during the altercation and did not intervene in time. This was an extreme situation because of the use of technology ahead of time and social media. There was violence on campus, and the parents and staff have a right to be very, very concerned. What has to be in place ahead of this, preemptive measures, is solid plan in the handbooks and the district policy for safety measures for their officers, and the response of these type of things of their safety officers. Staff training could also be something that could be implemented prior to a situation like this happening, and the professional ethics training for staff and students both could help to prevent this type of situation. The third tort law case was Munn versus Hotchkiss School, and it was where a student was bitten by a tick on a school-sponsored trip to China. And the Munn argued that this was the school did not indicate that there was any kind of danger of this happening on the trip, being exposed to an insect that carried diseases. But the school chaperones and they also claimed did not properly prepare the students for this hike in the woods. And the court awarded the plaintiff nearly $42 million in damages, which I thought was very, very excessive. But something that the district could have done as a preventative measure was to obtain contractual obligations and legal counsel prior to going on this trip with students, having students and parents sign off on the liability of things happening while on the trip. Something that they could have also done as a proactive measure would be to have legal counsel write up contracts and understanding the obligation of the school in this instance. Professional ethics would state to ensure privacy of people involved. I think that would be the only thing that would need to be discussed in the ethics discussion. The fourth case is Andreozzi versus Town of East Haven. The district sued one of their coaches over not providing the proper safeguards against injury during a track practice. A student was injured, and the district, the coach was found not liable for injuries sustained to that student. Something that the district could have done is athletic staff could undergo training to safeguard against student injury, and staff would be held accountable to take that training prior to taking a job post where students would be at risk for these type of things. I don't believe professional ethics were violated in this case, nor would they need to be altered or changed for the future. Bracek versus Millard School District. The plaintiff claims that her son died of an injury sustained by a golf club to the head during a physical education class, and the record indicates the boy was hit with the golf club from another student who was not paying attention when someone was walking behind them, and that the student did not follow the written rules, that the supervising teacher was unaware because he was devoting his time to another student. I think something that definitely should have happened in this case would be immediate medical care, and then preventative maintenance could be that the proper safety training for staff and students and teachers would be implemented before things like this happen. More walkthroughs from administration so the staff understands that the administration is also coming around looking for safety concerns. Professional ethics may apply if the teacher and the supervisor had not been properly trained and if their duty to protect the students during activities was breached. So now the question is, what do we do going forward? I put together a list of 10 things that I felt came from a lot of the material that I looked over for this module, and they range from providing a professional standard of care, which could be very, very detailed in a school district, through training, awareness, and screening. I also think having some at-risk assessments might come in place for situations to be aware of before they happen. School resource officers is another great way to avoid tort liability if we have safety protocol in place and security in place prior to incidents happening. Community engagement, I believe, is a very big thing that can also help us in these type of situations, along with having a positive school environment. And that all comes from the top with the district leadership. Thank you.